Welcome to KiddieKonfidence, where we are all about bringing out the best in our kids. It is 2020, week 1, term 1, and we are ready for our curriculum in full swing. This week, the first week of the term, our theme was My Body. The phonic for the week was the letter B, or as we teach our kids, the sound B. And then we introduced some basic counting skills as well. So this week our kiddies learned all about their bodies. So they learned to identify and name different parts of their bodies. Our song for the week was Head, Shoulders, Knees and Toes, which is always a favorite because it's very interactive. And obviously whenever there's a bit of sensory stimulation to learning, the kiddies remember it better. So when you're doing a song, it's hearing. When you are learning new words, you are also seeing and identifying new words. And with that, they also actually touch the body part. So the touch is then the new sensory element that comes to it. And so it's something that helps them to remember, which is why we love to do songs as well. Interactive songs helps them to remember new things. And so this week with My Body, we did a lot of interesting activities. Our kiddies colored in a little mini book all about me. They learned that they have hands, and on their hands they have fingers. And then we counted the fingers and we found that we have 10 fingers. They also learned that they have feet. If it's 1, it's a foot. If it's 2, it's feet. But on their feet, they've got little fingers, and those little fingers are called toes. So we counted those as well. We found that we have 10. They learned the names of their eyes, their ears. We also counted those. How many ears? 1, 2 ears. Nose. They learned about their arms. They learned about their shoulders. They learned the word elbow. They learned knees. They learned legs. They learned all their different body parts. They learned mouth, yes, but also your mouth has got 1, 2 lips. So that is how we introduced a bit of counting skills to this week as well. Even though very basic, we go a lot more into counting and mathematical concepts later in the term and throughout the year, obviously. But just to introduce some basics into counting using our body parts. And then they also learned our bigger kiddies, our Wacky Whales class, which is our 4 to 5-year-olds, and our Silly Sharks, which is our 3 to 4-year-olds, learned the color of their eyes. So I would hold three crayons, brown. Let's say the kiddies' eyes are blue, then I would use a purple, a red, and a blue crayon, and I would ask them, what color are your eyes? Obviously it's not red, it's not purple. So then they would realize that they have blue eyes. Kiddies with green eyes would color their eyes green, and kiddies with brown eyes color their eyes brown. And then they also learned a little bit about their hair. Do they have long hair or short hair? Do they have curly hair or straight hair? And then what color is their hair as well? So they learned a lot more about themselves with colors and learning all about their bodies. So that was awesome. We also did a lot of cut and paste activities whenever there's scissors involved, and painting, gluing. Kids get excited. So with that, we also stimulated the B sound. At our school, we teach phonics. We don't teach ABCs. I will tell my kids, this is a B, and it sounds like this, B. I want them to remember the way that it sounds, because when they go to big school, the teacher's going to ask them to write a word, like for example, cat. But if they know C-A-T, it's going to be difficult to spell. Whereas if they know their phonics, they can go K-A-T, and they can figure out how to spell it. So this is why we teach phonics. We do tell them what the letter is called. It's a B, or it's a B, it's an A, it's a Z, or it's a T, but it sounds like this, T, Z, A, B. So we teach phonics. And for this week, we learned that there are lots of different things that are called, or that have the start with the letter B, or the sound B. We learned that butterfly starts with B. Kiddies did a beautiful little painting picture, or painted a gorgeous little picture of butterfly. This one is a bit crazy, but they did some beautiful butterfly pictures. We also learned, this is very interesting, B starts with a B. So that was another way that they remember the B a little bit better. Also, things like bed, ball, and banana, bag, basket, all of those things start with the letter B. So if you wanted to do at-home stimulation for phonics, we don't stress too much if our 3 to 4-year-olds and younger don't remember the phonics, but we do want our 4 to 5-year-olds to begin to recognize some of the phonics. So by the time they go to big school, Ideally, you want them to know plus minus 18 capital letters, plus minus 15 lowercase letters. So for 4 to 5-year-olds, if you do want to do at-home stimulation for this week's phonic, you can randomly point out something that starts with a B if they have it in their hands. So let's say they are playing outside, playing with a bit of ball. You can go, did you know that ball actually starts with a B? I'm going to say it, listen to this. B, ball. Did you hear the B in ball? And the second time you say, it's just to get them to recognize the sound. The second time you say, just say the word. Listen, it's got a B, listen. Ball. Did you hear that? That's very cool. Ball actually starts with a B. And you can do the same. Let's say they are putting their backpack on the back, and they're on their way out the door to go on an outing or something. They can go, hey, did you know that bag actually starts with a B? Listen to this. B, bag. Did you hear the B in bag? Listen, we'll say it again. Bag. So that's how you can encourage phonics. If they're eating a banana, same thing. Hey, did you know that banana actually starts with a B? Same thing. So whenever you see them randomly doing something that's got something that has to do with the B sound, then you can point out that that actually starts with a B. Don't stress too much about something that's got a B sound in the middle of the word. We'll get to that later in the term. But yes, and then the wonderful, a very nice way to stimulate at-home knowledge about my body is to actually encourage your kiddie to wash themselves in the bath. So your kiddie's got some shower gel or some soap on a face cloth or a sponge or whatever, and then you go, I want you to wash your arms. Where are your arms? Oh, good job. You've got how many do you have? Let's count. 1, 2 arms. I want you to wash your knees. No, silly, that's your shoulders. Your knees are over here, and you point out knees. And so you can encourage them through touch to remember the different parts of their body. So wash your hands, wash your hands. Wash your tummy. You can encourage them to wash their tummy. So they hear the word, you point out the body part, and by washing it themselves, that sense of touch is like a triple learning experience for them. So always when we encourage sensory learning, it helps them to remember so much better. So that's a nice at-home stimulation idea for the theme of the week. The phonic of the week is the letter B. Don't worry too much about the counting stimulation for this week. We do a lot more counting and mathematical skills and number sense and all that sort of thing throughout the year. But if you did want to, just stick to body parts. How many eyes do you have? Where are your eyes? Over here. How many do you have? 1, 2. Oh, you are very clever. You can encourage them that way. And even if they get it wrong, we don't go, oh no, that's not right. That's close, but let's say it like this, and then you can correct them. So yeah, it's all about, for us, KiddieKonfidence, it's all about bringing out an abundance of kids, an abundance of confidence in our kids, because we really believe at our school that if a child is confident, then it is possible for them to master any skill. I mean, think about it as an adult. You would go to a class for a specific teacher, and you maybe didn't quite understand the way that teacher taught, or there was something that sort of put you on your back foot with that subject. Not that you necessarily couldn't do that subject, but something knocked your confidence a bit about that particular subject. Whereas if you walked into that classroom being full of confidence and you found this, let's say it's a maths problem, and you believe that you could do it, it would be more likely that you would try and get it right, as to walking in with little confidence about this thing, seeing a math problem and go, I just can't do this. So it's something similar that we encourage in our kids. We focus on encouraging an abundance of confidence. We do that a lot through encouraging a bit of resilience, a bit of problem solving, and just encouraging them with a very broad and in-depth curriculum that lets them walk into a big school classroom and go, you know what, I've got this, I can do this. The school is a bit bigger than what I'm used to, but I know I can do this. So if they have that, they can do anything. And that is really what KiddieKonfidence is all about. And that's why we do these at-home stimulation ideas and share with you what our kids learn about, because when we co-teach, although we teach at school, but when parents know what kids are learning about and encourages a bit of that, it helps them so much better to remember it. And again, just boost their confidence right out of the water. So that's why we do it that way. And last thing I wanted to just share as well, before I forget, our story for the week is this little story. It's called 2 by 2 by David Melling. And it introduced a little bit of counting concepts to our kiddies, but just the 2 by 2. It's a story about a teacher and a couple of friends, different animal friends, and they go on a bit of an adventure, and they go 2 by 2. So everybody's got a friend except for one little guy who doesn't have a friend. And at first everybody finds him a little bit insignificant. It's sort of like they just say, oh, it's just old Bat Jack and he doesn't count. I kept telling my kids, is it nice to say somebody doesn't count? No, it's not nice to say that. So the story continues and everybody just disregards this little bat, and eventually they get into a situation where they need somebody who is super brave. And guess who is the hero of the day? The little insignificant bat ends up having the biggest, bravest heart of all. And so it's a story that encourages our kids that no matter how small you are or how small you may feel, a big heart that is very brave can go a long way. And that is our update for this week. I would love to close just with a little quote about why we love our kids as much as we do. So, parents, teachers, we do what we do for our kids because they just bring it all out in us. But I'd love to close with this little quote that ties in with that. We find delight in the beauty and happiness of children. That makes the heart too big for the body. That is by Rolf Waldo Emerson. Cute little quote about why we do what we do and why we love the way we love. So till next time, have great confidence in yourself and boost it in your kiddie.